Hey guys, what's up? This is James with Illuminator Reviews, and today we're going to be taking a look at the NXEdge Zero from Mega Man X, Rockman X, whatever you want to call it. So let's get started here. The first thing here, the box. If I gave myself space to do that. There, set him aside for a second. So let's take a look at the box here. It's actually a really nice package. I like it quite a bit. All, white everywhere. Looks very clean. I like that Rockman X logo. That's just classic up there. Pictures of Zero on every side. Yeah, back's really cool. And I'm not that familiar with the NXEdge line. But I know that they do several things. They have Gundam, they have Digimon, and I think they're still expanding that. So, that's cool. It's a thing. I don't know how much of a fan I am of the style, but like I said, they're kind of nifty little figures. And because it's a Japanese version, it has that Capcom logo, which, if you've been watching my videos, you guys know that I like the Japanese versions. Really, there's no point to it. You can get the American version, it's just as good, but it's those little things that, I guess I have OCD for. Alright, so here's Zero. The first thing I'm going to say, guys, I really hate this stand. I think the figure itself is kind of alright, but this stand is just garbage. I don't know why they don't have just a Tamashii Nations stand, one of those Tamashii stages, because either you have a choice like this where there's an arm where there's no articulation at all, or you get one that's like, look, you can either bend it this way or this way. You can't bend it in the same direction, which it's like you can't really get them to do anything but just kind of stand there, and it looks really awkward because it's kind of posed sideways like this. So I don't know. I really don't know what they were thinking when they designed that. I kind of don't even use it. If I do, I use this one just to have them in a jumping pose. It looks okay. And yeah, I mean, and they're too small, really, for a Tamashii stand, so... And this is actually too big, too. There's not a good option. You're just going to have to suck it up. And deal with it, I guess. It comes with these things right here. So if you have other figures in the line, you can actually... I don't need to show you all of them, but you put 3 of them in there, and you can actually... On the top here, you could actually put another stand, so they're like a pillar kind of thing. Alright, so let's take this out of here. Again, not that interesting. The base is like the worst part. It has one cool feature, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. But for the most part, yeah, I'd rather save like $5 and this not have a stand. Okay, so because everything's out here, guys, this is how I like to do it. If it's out, let's talk about it. I'm going to say first, he's actually got a few accessories, which is pretty cool. So he comes like this in the package. He's got the Buster like that already on there from Mega Man X3, which is pretty cool. I'll talk about that in a little bit. He comes with the hand. He comes with an arm for his right arm. He comes with a replacement, so you can have him holding the sword in either hand. There aren't any fists, but he does. I mean, he's got these hands, kind of like old '90s figures had. And even before that, I guess. Focus. Okay. Yeah, and both the hands are like that. It's really hard to tell if that's painted. I think it's painted, and then it's actually molded in white plastic as well, so even if you scratch it, it'll be white underneath, which is nice. He's got 2 open hands as well, if you want to pose him jumping and swinging that sword. Like, ah! You can do that. And speaking of swords, he's got 2 saber effects. He's got his traditional kind of slashing, like that in the game. Except, and this is one thing, in the game, he has a green saber. In fact, in every game I'm aware of. And in the artwork, he had a blue saber. So that's one of those things, I don't know who at Capcom decides these things, but I guess they don't communicate. So every time they make a figure of Zero, he's going to have a blue sword, because the toy companies just look at the art. They don't actually play the games. Sad story, but that's true. He comes with this sword too, which, I guess if you had to say a style, it looks like the cover of Mega Man X6 that X was holding, where it comes to a point like that. So, you know, that's one of his styles. The D-Arts actually came with the third one that looked like his Rockman X4 cover art. I think on the Sega Saturn version, or actually that's the Mega Man X4 box. But he had like kind of a rounded blunt tip. It came with that one as well. This one just comes with these two. And there is no paint on this, no color variation. It's just a clear piece. The D-Arts actually had paint on it. It kind of like white and it faded off. It looked pretty cool. Surprisingly, this looks just fine. Like I thought I'd have a problem with that. I really don't. Looks pretty good. So let's get into the figure itself. That's all his accessories. You guys have seen it all. So, yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, he's pretty good, man. You know. Let's see, his head here. His head's on the ball joint. And then his neck is on the ball joint as well. So he's got a lot of head movement, a lot of head range. Well, yeah, one thing to talk about, it's really hard to see, but the X figure in this line actually had an X in his head jewel. And if you look really closely, and I'm not sure I'll be able to pick it up, Zero actually has a Z. It's supposed to be a Z. It's really subtle, and it's like really in there, but he's got a little Z, so, you know, just in case you didn't know he was Zero, they're letting you know. So that's cool. That is clear that's a clear piece right there. His boobies also are clear. So I always like when they do that. The ears, the inside of the ears, for some reason, it's just painted metallic. So on the X figure, it was clear plastic. On this Zero, it's just painted. Does it bother me? Not especially. I suppose, like, the thing that bugs me a little bit more is that the inside of his ear is red when it's actually orange in the game. But, I mean, you know, I'm pretty OCD about Mega Man, so I noticed everything like that. Up to you if you care. He's got like this weird collar thing which kind of hinders the neck a little bit. His neck will get stuck down here and it'll bump around. So I'm not a huge fan of that. Not quite sure why they would do it like that. But you know, I guess it's just a style choice. He does reuse a lot of the same parts from the X, by the way. The arms are the same, the torso is the same, and the legs are the same pieces. And probably the neck too, yeah. But everything else, this is new. And actually, I think the Zero has a way better head sculpt than the X does. The eyes just look way cooler. Not just that Zero's eyes look better than X's or cooler than X's, but I think they did a better job replicating Zero. I kind of wish that was white inside there, you know, just he's supposed to... I always picture Zero with white inside his shoulder pads, and this one doesn't have that. No big deal. Okay. So keeping with articulation, he's got like a hinge right here. So this goes in and out. That's really cool. And then it swivels here. Then the arm goes out. There's a hinge in there. So he's got a swivel and a hinge. And actually, within that shoulder hinge, he's actually got a ball joint there inside too. So that's quite a bit of articulation. One problem I do have, if you try to change this cannon out a lot of times, you get the arm out instead. And you don't want that, but it just kind of happens. Okay, back in there. So he's got a single joint right here. Goes up about this much. So you can do a little bit more than 90 degrees. That's not bad. Oh, another clear part right here. I really like that. The Buster is really nice. It is missing a little green dot here in that circle area, which would have been nice if they had done it. They did kind of cheap out a few things here. And they keep giving Zero this thing, which was like a first game design, and they kind of changed that this is Zero Mark II. And I don't know, every time they make a figure, they've got the first game thing here. I've just kind of learned to live with it. I don't care. This right here, that should be yellow. It's not, you know, whatever. They save money. While we're in articulation, by the way, I want to say, first of all, this hair sculpt, I love it. It's so nice. I like it better than the D-Arts version. And this hair is so much smarter than the D-Arts version because it's got a hinge inside, so it goes up and down. Then it rotates this way too. It's still got a peg. A ball joint would be cool, but I mean, you can get it to go all the way up. You can get it to go to the side this way, all the way that way. I mean, you can get him in some really cool poses like that. So, if I had to say one thing I love about the figure, it's the hair. I think it's awesome. Alright, so moving on. He does have, it's just a swivel here. Same articulation in this arm. He's got a ball joint. Well, I say ball joint, it's actually... No, it's just a hinge. It's not a ball joint in there, but it's just a hinge. That gap is pretty bad, though. So if you make him look up, you know, looks like somebody cut him in half. So they didn't really care about keeping his aesthetic when he's posed sometimes. You know, that looks pretty awful, too. It would have been nice if they could have done something with this, like widened his underwear piece. Or push his hips in a bit. But if you pose him like that, you know, you don't notice it as much. So, okay, coming down. This is, you know, nice paint. I like most of it. Let's see, the waist here. You really don't get much movement here. You get, like, side to side. That's about it. It doesn't go down, really. So, I'm just going to call that a swivel joint for now. Okay, he's got ball jointed hips. They come off if you're not careful, so be careful. But they do snap back in. It's not broken, guys. So I say. I'm going to break it now. Goes back, you know, goes out, back and forth. You can kick up about that much. That's pretty good. Pretty good range right there. And can't go too far back. He's actually blocked by just the design. It's not here it's blocking him. It's just the way that the peg juts out. Because it doesn't come out straight. See, it goes like this. So he stops here. He can't go any further than that. Alright, so let's get into the knee. He's got single joint right there. But it does go up pretty far, so that's really all he needs. Coming down here. He's got... Yeah, that's just a ball peg. It works. It's pretty functional. Yeah, good range of movement. You can see, again, not straight, so it did pop off. When I first got this figure, something to note, I thought the foot, something was wrong with it. I almost was going to send it back to the factory. But you had to really pop it in there, so... Yeah. So if your foot's like it's not popping on, you might have to apply a lot of force. These gems on the side of his feet here, on the side of his boots, I do wish they were clear plastic. Again, you're getting the metallic paint. It's okay. At least they took the time to put it on. The bottom of the feet, this is one thing I don't really like, because it looks like Zero has sneakers to me. Like this white trim. He shouldn't really have that. And down the bottom of his feet are white, so... Yeah, that's the thing. You know, those aren't clear pieces, the green, either. That's just paint, but the bottom of his feet look really good. If we can get a zoom in on that. Yeah, really clean paint. I think that's the nicest, probably the nicest paint on the figure, just for me, is like the bottom of his feet. They did a good job on that. Alright. So let's take the sword out of his back, because it can peg in. It's got this thing that sticks out. I don't know, I don't really mind it, it's okay. Here's the sword right here. And it comes apart at the handle, at the bottom of the hilt. And then you can plug in either one you want. I do prefer this one because it looks like in-game. I mean, like, probably looks like X2 through X5. And those are really kind of the glory days of Mega Man X. So we can pop it in there, put this on. Another thing, the tip should be red. They didn't bother to paint it. So Zero, he does have some things where they kind of just didn't feel like spending extra money on it. And again, I wish that money had gone into the paint, and they had taken away the stand. Like, I'd rather have kept it the same price. Take $5 away with the stand that sucks. Put some more paint on the figure, make it complete. You know, like I keep saying, what are you gonna do? This is what the company wants. So he can get some pretty cool poses here, like, you know, I kind of wish he came with a yelling face or something, but this is what you get. There's a hole in the buster here, so most of the time they've been painting, I mean, they've been, like, covering that up, but the reason they don't with these is because they give them accessories, or, like, I guess you can still, the swords do plug in here, you can fit the swords. I don't know why you'd want to. But you can actually take parts from the Mega Man X. Ooh. And it doesn't go in all the way. I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, check that out. So you can have Zero with those effects. Ooh. That's a little heavy for him. That was a little heavy for the X, too. They should have included, like, an extra stand for that. Actually looks pretty cool with them. That's the first time I've tried it. Alright. And this was actually from the Hasbro Marvel vs. Capcom set versus the Mega Man X versus Iron Man. But that actually will fit in here too. And surprisingly, I kind of like that one the best. That kind of green color, I do wish his sword were the same color as this. But, you know, at least I kind of feel like I'm getting that color that I desire through this kind of crummy blast effect. And for some reason, I really didn't like it with the Hasbro figure, but with this Zero, I just think it kind of works. I don't know. You know, tell me what you guys think. And you can always put, like, X's dash effect here, like... Alright, so I'm gonna do one more thing with this guy. You can see that this is how he has to stand. This is the Mega Man X, but this is what you're looking at with the stand. I mean, this is so stupid, and you can't really do anything else with it. But the thing that these things can do, it's got a little peg in here. Oh, you can hook them together like that, which I do think is pretty cool. Again, I don't really like the stand. That's probably the only thing about the stand I do like. And I'm just going to take Zero off here to compare their height. I'm pretty sure everything in this line is the exact same height. There's no variation of that. But, ooh. Well, if I can get Zero in a static pose there, that'd be nice. Close enough. You know what? Let's just take this part out. Alright, so with the X, no, they're pretty much the same height there. I don't think Zero's, nah, same height. Zero just has this headpiece, which makes him look a little bit taller, but he's not. That's one thing I feel like Capcom's forgetting these days with the new Marvel vs. Capcom game, is that Zero is supposed to be at least half a head taller to maybe a head taller than X. But they keep just being like, yo, they're the same height, which I guess, you know, the first game, they really needed him to be a different height to show that he was the senior officer, basically. He's the, you know, X's he's X's mentor, so he's got to be cooler. But in subsequent games, their heights kind of, you know, they kind of started to match each other a little bit in the artwork, like, oh, they're on the same level now, so, they used to draw Zero, like, up here, and then I feel like they kind of started to shrink him down a bit. So yeah, that's my review of the NXEdge Mega Man X Zero figure. So go out and pick this guy up if you want. I probably give him out of 10. I'm going to give him a 7.5, to be honest. And the reason for that is the figure is just not all that great. But the low price point, I mean, he's like maybe $25 at the most. It's a good price. I love the hair. The effects are pretty cool. The paint, what is there, is pretty good. It's clean. Yeah. So I gotta give it I gotta tell it like it is, you know? And that figure, it's a good figure. It's not a wonderful figure. It won't blow you away. I do think it's better than the X. You know, so go get it if you want. You can get it at Big Bad Toy Store, Amazon. I got mine from Ami, which I think they might be sold out now. And I think Hobbylink Japan still has it in stock, so you can check there. Alright guys, this has been James with the Illuminator Reviews, and I'll catch you later next time.